Thank you for joining us today for the Firm Directory BA Insight ILTA product briefing. My name is Mike Manning. I'll be today's moderator. Before we start, some housekeeping items. Today's session will be recorded. A link to the recording will be sent to all attendees, and we'll have time at the end of today's call for questions. Please enter your questions for Sean and Jason in the questions window of the control panel. And if you need any assistance, please use the chat window on your control panel. Today's presentation will show you how firms can use SharePoint Search to surface attorney expertise. Our presenters today are Jason Noble and Sean Coleman. Jason is the GM and product development for the Firm Directory. He's built collaboration solutions for Fortune 500 companies and the nation's top law firms. Jason has put his know-how and passion to work developing the Firm Directory, the premier legal experience discovery system. Jason is joined by Sean Coleman, VP of Support and Services with BA Insight. Sean is a software pro and customer advocate focused on helping customers with enterprise implementations and post-sales customer experience. He's a regular speaker and panel member at the ILTA SharePoint Symposium and ILTACon. Today's session we like to keep as interactive as possible, so please submit your questions in the questions window of the control panel, and I'll ask many of them as we go along. With that, Jason, I'll pass it over to you to review today's agenda.
All right, thanks, Mike. I really appreciate that. So what we're talking about today is our integration with BA Insight, and the first thing that we're going to do is we'll talk about some of the business drivers of why we really felt that this partnership was not only important and strategic to each one of our companies, but also for our clients. So how this will benefit each one of our customers. So we'll talk about some of the business drivers. We're also going to do a quick overview of the Firm Directory for those of you that are not familiar with it. We'll also jump into an overview of BA Insight and what they do, and then we'll talk about the specifics of the walkthrough. And then near the end of the presentation, we're going to open it up for Q&A. As Mike mentioned, please ask any questions that you have in the control panel, and we're going to do our best to answer those questions at the end. So the business drivers for why we're looking for this integration is that we want to make finding people and the knowledge that those people have within your firm very, very fast and simple. And what we've seen is a pretty common business process within firms is this concept of pardon the interruption emails, which is basically a process whereby if you have a need and you're looking for someone with a particular area of law experience or industry experience, you kind of send out this email to a wide net of recipients, and the expectation is that those folks come back to you with their appropriate experience. Now, we also want to eliminate the need to search across multiple systems. So typically firms have, whether it's iManage or Elite, various data systems where the expectation is that when you're looking for information, you need to go to those systems to find that. Really what we want to do is we want to aggregate that and bring it all together into a single interface so that you can make decisions based on all of the information within the firm. Also, we've seen that intranets that have been rolled out, maybe like a 1.0 or a 2.0 version of intranets, really are not servicing the lawyers very well. There are challenges related to finding the right information, finding the right experts when they're needed. And then also, I think one of the things that you'll find is that while you may have a search solution, the fact that those search results are incomplete ultimately lead to less informed decisions. And ultimately, this is a time waster, if you will. We're trying to help reduce the amount of time that it takes to find answers based on the knowledge within your firm. So let's do a quick overview of what the Firm Directory is. And the Firm Directory is obviously very, it's pervasive in legal, so we have some great clients in legal, but we've also seen that this same concept is applicable across other industries. You'll note that professional services is represented here, as well as high tech. So while the solution is very much focused on the legal industry, we have found that other industries have similar challenges, especially in the professional services area. So the Firm Directory is an experience discovery system that focuses on providing very rich profiles for each one of the lawyers, associates, staff members within the firm. Now, this is not necessarily a replication of what is available on your public-facing site, because we allow you to have custom sections that can contain any information, things like board memberships. You can even do things like billing rates if you wanted to really get sensitive information in there. And what we're providing is an increased speed to access the knowledge of the members of your firm and their relationship capital. Again, going back to that concept of, pardon the interruption, emails, what we've seen the firm directory do is, if not entirely eliminate, significantly decrease the number of, or the amount of email-based collaboration that's occurring, because we provide you with a single system where you can discover the people that would have industry experience, for example, in aviation. We also have seen that this is a tool that's used during the business development cycle, so that as you're creating pitches or you're responding to new opportunities, you can use the firm directory to identify the best team that could help satisfy that particular opportunity. One of the unique things that the firm directory does is it has a capability of providing legal specific skills. So we provide a taxonomy of around 1,800 legal specific skills across about 21 areas of law. And what this allows people to do is either A, self-declare that they have experience in a particular topic, or you can actually have someone responsible for appointing experience or in a particular legal skill. And then finally, you can use one of our algorithms where we actually read the bio and all of the contents of the bio, match that up with a taxonomy, and we actually assign people skills. So it's a nice combination of the ability to either A, self-declare skills, B, appoint skills, or C, automatically have those skills assigned to individuals. We also have very deep SharePoint integration. So being that this is the webinar was really focused on SharePoint, we take your SharePoint profiles and immediately provide a turnkey solution that modifies your SharePoint profile so that they contain the information that you might care about. Things like bar admissions, employment history, board memberships, industry-specific experience. We can pull all of this content from the various data systems that are inside of your firm, and surprisingly enough, one of the first systems that we traditionally talk to are your public-facing bios, because that's a pretty good starting point to populate this content. And our objective here is to ensure that your profiles are about 90% complete when for the lawyers themselves, so they don't have to go in and create this content. We just pull this content from the various systems within the firm. We do think that there are certain areas where self-declaration makes sense. Things like skills, things like industry experience. We found that firms generally are not collecting industry-specific experience, so allowing your firm members to go in and declare that they have experience in a particular industry is a real value add. And finally, once you have these very rich profiles where you're collecting all this information about the firm, what we provide to you is a search facility where you can discover people. And this is really where we focused in on some of the more typical, pardon the interruption, emails, and allow you to search for those people and actually save those results. So sometimes firms will have a kind of a centralized knowledge manager that responds to these emails. This is a great tool for them to search the firm for everyone that has experience and then provide quicker answers to those emails should you decide to continue with the email-based approach. These filters can be completely customized, so if you want to search by industry, maybe you want to search by language, maybe you want to search by location and bar admissions, all of these filters are customizable to your environment, as are all the sections within the profile itself. We found that while our core set of sections that we ship with are very applicable, most firms want to collect custom pieces of information, and our solution is very flexible to meet those needs. And for those of you that are invested in SharePoint, we do integrate naturally with whatever search technology you have embedded into SharePoint. So whether that's the out-of-the-box search experience, or as you'll see here in a second, BA Insight does an amazing job of not only allowing you to search for people and their bios, but they do a great job of mixing in the content that these people have actually created, whether that's in iManage or in a lead or Aderant. It actually gives you a complete picture of not only the content in the profile, but also the content that they've contributed to the firm. So it's just a great way to discover experience and have validated experience, meaning supporting content for those individuals. And then, of course, mobile. While we're starting to see firms adopt more mobile applications, we do provide a mobile version of this application. So you can see here on the left-hand side is a list of all of the individuals, and then on the right-hand side is actually what their profile looks like. We can configure the sections that show up on the profile within the mobile device, so you can include, again, those bar admissions or those industry selections. And then you can, when you're on the road, you can find people based on those specific filters that we provide to you. So again, just to reiterate, the firm directory is an experience discovery system that creates very rich profiles that pull in information from all of your existing data systems and creates a complete picture for each individual. And then we provide tools on top of that to search to discover those people. And with this partnership and this deep integration with BA Insight, not only can you search based on their profile, but you're going to be able to search based on the content that they've actually created within the firm. So with that, to keep this a little bit interactive, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start a poll. So I'm going to go ahead and ask you a poll around what does your firm or what technologies or processes do you use to locate experts within the firm today? We'll take about 25 seconds to allow you to answer this, and I'll share these results with you. Okay, about 10 more seconds. Okay, great. So let's go ahead and I'm going to close the poll, and then I'm going to go ahead and share these results with you. And so what we're seeing here, based on your feedback, is that email is a pretty it seems to be, at least for half of you, the tool that you use for discovering experts. So it looks like there are some none of the above, so maybe you have some other solutions. So we'd be very interested in listening to those as well. So thanks again for taking the time to fill out that poll. With that, what I'm going to go ahead and do is turn it over to Sean, who is going to give you an oversight of BA Insight, and then he will move into talk about the deep integration between our two products.
Excellent. Thanks, Jason. Very, very good overview. So what I wanted to start with is just a little bit of background about what BA Insight does and how, kind of what our solutions for legal are built for. Just wanted to share a little bit on this next slide around, we work with a lot of legal customers, and we've got a great kind of legal community that we work with and really, enjoy the interaction that we have, and just wanted to call out some of those names here. Some of you may be on the phone, others that I'm sure that you've met and talked with, but we've helped a lot of these companies in a lot of different ways. And the way that we kind of wrap up what it is that our software portfolio does is that it offers unparalleled access to information that's structured or unstructured, on-premise or in the cloud, so we don't care where it resides, all through your SharePoint portal. So an enterprise search driven through SharePoint with access to all of your key data. This allows your attorneys to have an intuitive experience to surface the relevant information, find that more efficient, resolve issues faster, right? Quickly identify documents and people from across the enterprise to increase that team collaboration and productivity. If you break down our key capabilities on our next slide, so powering your SharePoint portal, we do that with connectivity without custom code. So we believe, wholeheartedly in making this, easy to manage and work for you over the long term and lessen the reliance on customization that's key to us. That's for systems such as Aderant, Worksite, iManage, Elite, Knowledge Mill, Legal Key, NetDocs. We've got 50 some odd connectors that we work with. So that's key to what we do. Metadata creation, right? So auto classification and this metadata creation, taking a firm's taxonomy, integrating that within your documents to this common, set of language that people understand where content comes from. We'll talk a little bit about how the skills taxonomy that Jason talked about in the firm directory can really play a part in this. We also integrate with WesKM's entity extraction. The concept here is the better tagged content is, and the more recognizable those tags are, the easier it's going to be to find. And so how do you empower both your users with the ability to classify and metadata things properly, but then also use machine learning and automation to do that, where they don't do it for them and apply things across the enterprise. Our smart previews, right? This allows attorneys to explore content instantly, regardless of where it resides, directly in their search interface. Highlight the things that they're looking for, provide them hit maps, and search inside for a document, full audit tracking back to the source system. So regardless of where this content came from, let them interrogate that document, look at it quickly. You don't have to open the source document. Really find out if this is the relevant piece of information for you. We offer a matter comparison to modernize pricing and proposal generation. Now that you've brought all this data into your enterprise search, let's do things with it to solve business problems. And matter comparison is an example of that. One of the business problems is, I have to do a fixed fee arrangement on this matter. What does past performance show me about what I should bid here? Let me pull these 4 or 5 matters together and compare them, and just up my intelligence about what we have to do. And we'll hit on how that actually integrated with experience data kind of takes that to the next level later. And then our user-generated info sites. This is a way to foster collaboration, put the power of quick portal pages to your end users, directly in their search results, the ability to save off a search that they've done, that they've curated, share that with others, get notified when it changes, and increase that collaboration. So a model where it's not a collaboration site where I pull documents in and those are the documents that we collaborate on. It's a collaboration site that is wired in with my enterprise search and brings in data automatically, stuff that I wouldn't know that's in there, stuff that was generated recently, and notify me when that happens, really increasing that collaboration. So the best way to talk more about it is to show some examples. Our friends at DLA are kind enough to allow us to share this. This is their enterprise search solution, and some things just to call out on, what can I get if I implement BA Insight with SharePoint? Across the top, Search Center for providing unified views of information, enriched search results. What they've got is some WesKM citations, additional refinement on the left with WesKM extractions as well. On the next slide, we look a little bit further in detail into a client search, right? Locate client profile and related information. Look at all the matters that are related to that client. Look at the relevant contacts out of the interaction CRM. So pulling all that data together into a central dashboard. And then the next slide, from a matter perspective, a matter page to provide profile data, link that back to the client, pertinent documents displayed in context of the matter, and then even billing snapshot. So go out to Elite, pull in some billing data, give me that. So these are things that we've worked with our clients to do. But what we're here today to talk about is how integrating in the firm directory and its expertise data along with the BA Insight technology stack, what additionally can we get from that? So on the next slide, we've got, what your standard search center on the left, potentially from a BA Insight perspective is, and let's pull in data out of the firm directory and see what we can get from that. And we've kind of highlighted 4 key areas that we think this integration really kind of hits the ball out of the park and drives the value up. We've got the ability to enhance knowledge assets. We'll talk about that in detail. The ability to enhance expertise finding, to increase overall findability of content and people, and then how to bring it all together into a complete portal picture. So now that we've got SharePoint, we've got the firm directory, how do I drive this to my users in a complete integration that shows them that the data as a whole drives a lot of business value. We did want to hit that it is a full and deep integration. It is the firm directory from our perspective at the Insight side is a connector that can be used. We can get all of the custom profile fields. We can collaborate. We can index collaboration and related activities. And obviously, you can utilize the firm directory web parts to further enhance the SharePoint capabilities. But it is a full and deep integration. So the first example we'll start with is enhanced knowledge assets. So now that I've pulled this data together and I've got data from Aderant and iManage and Elite, I've pulled that into my enterprise search and it's searchable from a single interface. What does bringing in expertise data allow me to do that we couldn't do before? And so what we'll do is we'll show a basic employment law search. And in the results that we see here, right away you'll notice that what we've mixed content results and people results right in the same interface. So I didn't specify whether I was looking for an employment law document or I was looking for a person, because we don't want to presuppose that the person doing the search knows that's exactly what they're looking for. If there's not a document out there that answers their question, it's quite possible that there's a person that can answer their question. And they may not know that before they ask. And so integrating it into one system, providing both those results together, really kind of bridges that gap. Now, you can say, certainly you could get some basic, user profile data, but the real data about, who knows the employment law and how what they create is verifiable, bringing in the data from the firm directory really kind of enhances that and allows us to do some of that right here in line. So what we're showing on this is that this first document happened to be written by Dan Bacon. It's a document, but in the hover card, in this example, the company, the law firm is really interested in, when I see a document, what people really want to know is, what are the skills of that attorney that wrote that? What's his bio summary? What industries does he work in? That's key to us. We're in a lot of different industries, the skills, a lot of different skills, and what I need to do is when I find a document, I don't want to have to read the entire document to verify if it's in the right source or written by the right type of attorney that's going to help me solve my problem. So let's put that right up front, easy for you to verify, stick it in the hover card. I can look right at this and go, yep, Dan wrote that. He's out of Calgary, right? So if I'm in the U.S. and this is Canadian law, potentially that tells me something about that makes me either recognize that it is the result I want or it's not. And I can read his biography and his summary and really interrogate that document without actually ever opening it. Now, if I go to the next slide, you'll see if I mouse over Dan, I can get some additional information and similar to what I saw by his authorship, but I can also get his department, his office, his email directly in line, but then very simply also read the same things. What are his skills? What are his industry? What are his bio summary? And recognize that potentially that first document may not have hit the bill, but the more I realize about Dan, the more I want to contact him and kind of ask him my question. That's maybe the best result for me to get an answer. So the next slide shows that we can do a direct integration right back out to the firm directory's profile page. So you could either link into the SharePoint user profile store, which we'll show later, or you could go right to the firm directory and view this user's, read more about their biography, maybe what their areas of law, whatever custom things, print that profile out, look at his peer ratings, any of the things that you would do when you found that user. And so the key thing that we're trying to show here is that users may not know at the front whether they're looking for a document, if they're looking for a person, what it is, they just know the problem that they have. So putting all the data in one system and then mixing it with the verifiable data of what the document contains, but then what expertise does the person who authored that document have in the same system allows us to quickly and validate that expertise and validate the source of the document they're coming from, make a better decision and save some time. It's not uncommon to, when you're looking at, talking to someone that you know or someone that you've met, looking into their company and also looking them up on LinkedIn. Two different searches, but if those were together, you're going to save some time. So I think we have a poll, Jason, here, yeah?
All right. Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and start with our second poll, just around search. So again, about 25 seconds, if you wouldn't mind filling out this poll. Again, what we're trying to ask here is related to search. What are your biggest pain points? Is it too many systems? Are there inconsistent results? Are they irrelevant? Or is there lack of expertise search, kind of a gap within your search solution. Okay, so about 10 more seconds. Okay, great. So I'll go ahead and close this poll and share these results with you. And it seems that that too many systems and lack of expertise search, well, inconsistent results is pretty much up there. So it's a nice mix of each one of these. So thanks for taking that poll.
Yep. Good thing to say is you're not alone. We talked to a lot of firms that have those problems, and I think hopefully what you're seeing today maybe would help give you some ideas in the right direction. But specifically to a lot of you that are having problems with that, expertise location or expertise searching, that's one of the things that we wanted to hit on here is how, when we brought these two together, what additionally can we get out of it? And we'll show, Jason talked earlier about the firm directory's kind of out of the box, ability to find experts, which is great. But if I bring that, can I bring that same experience into my enterprise search? And you certainly can. So the example we're showing here is, in this case, I know that I'm looking for a person. So we've scoped out the search centers. If you look at the top right under where we typed in bankruptcy, we've got an everything search, just a document search, and a firm directory or people search. So I give my users the ability to just go ahead and say, yeah, I'm interested in people. So let's just look through that. And then from a faceted search, you'll see that we have the ability to look, right at job title. Is this something that I definitely want to come from a partner, or is it something that maybe came out of the corporate or administrative group? I can go ahead and decide what that is up front. Some key things on here are the ability to kind of do a quick find. If it's too long, too many users, you can do a quick find that, with just a keyword search and apply that refiner. So next, looking at departments, what we've done here is we're interested in the tax department. I could choose one or more of those. Next slide, we're looking into office. So location, if the expert you're looking for is very location centric, right? It's a certain area of law that's different state to state, or you want to make sure that it's U.S. based versus international, anything like that, you're able to do that here.
Yeah,
and the next slide is where
about this, John, just to add to that, is that all of this is configurable. So if you wanted to add languages to this area, you can do that as well. So these facets are really configurable.
Absolutely, yeah. And any custom things that you've created too. If you've created, custom profile data, custom things that are specific to your firm, it's really easy to incorporate that into your facets of refinement. Good point. So the next slide, we go into the skills. This is where that skills taxonomy comes in, and we'll talk a little bit more about this later, but the ability to really hone in on that specific legal skill that you're looking for, and having that kind of taxonomy that comes out there and applied to all of your firm's attorneys, employees is a great benefit to whoever's looking for users, looking for for experts. So the next slide, we get to the results, right? So from here, I've done all of my refinement. I've got breadcrumbs along the top, so if I wanted to kick one of those out, I wanted to go do another refinement, it would show up in there. I'm seeing all the ways that I'm looking at people, and I get those results right on here. Similar to what we've shown before, a hover card that allows me to interrogate that. I did want to point out that hover card is fully configurable. You said, well, skills in industry aren't as indicative to me as user ratings or their star ratings or things like that. Absolutely, we can put that right in there. That could be available. Whatever is important, whatever really drives that decision factor can be put there and driven on that mouse over. But what we wanted to show on this one is, if we go to the next slide, what we've actually taken is the SharePoint profile store, and we've enhanced its capabilities and really kind of brought the two worlds together. So we've pulled that biography and skills expertise directly from the firm directory, but we've taken that query that was previously done and we've executed against contributions. So if I was looking for bankruptcy, or in this case, like looking for employment law or things like that, I'm going to go to Allison Brown's profile, and I'm going to see right on there what she's contributed in that area. So speaking to the verifying her expertise. So, okay, this is a skill. It's obvious that your biography covers it. Are you contributing in that? Are you driving firm content that way? Are you working on matters that are related to that? All of that can show up in here and really kind of drive that point out of how do we verify that and really know before I reach out. I don't want to waste Allison's time. Allison doesn't want to waste my time. Let's do as much information up front as we can to make the right decision and reach out to the right person and get the most productivity out of it. Right. The next thing we wanted to hit on was how do we take this two sets of data and use it to really kind of increase the findability. The things that people aren't able to find in this area. There's too much content, too many systems. And then whenever we talk about findability, we always come back to taxonomies and metadata. So the skills directory or the skills taxonomy that exists in the firm directory side can be very valuable when then equally applied to content. So that taxonomy can be used in a content classification, automated into a way that when it looks at like the arbitration skill, that it can read into documents that you're crawling that exist in your system, and through text analytics pull out and tag those with that same skill. So what that allows you to do is, if we look on the next slide, we see results where I've just gone in and said I'm interested in the arbitration skill. I'm getting documents that have been tagged with that, and I'm getting people that have identified that skill. There's a couple of things to recognize when we do this, right? So those skills applied equally to documents and to people. What correlations can we now make from that? So we can actually modify the relevancy engine in the system to say, if you have the arbitration skill and you're highly rated and you've contributed content to arbitration, then let's boost that content higher. So the likelihood of that content being of higher quality than potentially other results gets higher when it's validated against the expertise of the person who wrote it. So boost that stuff up to the front. The other thing it can do is, there may be someone out there who is new to the firm or has maybe not done the best job of updating their profile, or potentially works in a smaller office, so there's not as much ratings that they're getting, anything like that that says that potentially the system isn't giving you the whole picture of who the experts are. So if they're contributing content that's related to a skill, then that should show up, and you should be able to interrogate and say, okay, well, this person here is contributing content. They're not identified, but let me look into that. Let me see if they really are the expert that I want. So uncovering those hidden experts that maybe aren't doing the best job, or aren't, for whatever reason, showing up in that expertise search because of the profile completeness or anything like that. Let's wrap in that contribution data that's going to give me that full picture. So bringing it back around to a complete portal. So we talk a lot to our clients and our law firms about bringing all this data and making it searchable is really the right first step, right? Enterprise search, giving people a portal where they can look at things. But the real value of that comes that once the data is all into that one place, what business problems can I now go solve? What things can I now go do that I've got this capability in one place that really takes a portal from just a search or an enterprise search and really drives it to a business tool. And we wanted to highlight two capabilities that BA-Insight has that are enhanced with the firm directories data in this webinar. So the first one is our info sites, our user-generated info sites. And this is a take on collaboration that allows you to basically create a portal page or a site search and share that with others. So what we're looking at here is our employment law info site. And I, as the user who created this, I likely did some work up front, getting my right search, putting my right filter criteria in, getting to the point where I'm like, yeah, I think this is a good representation of a set of data that's important to me and what I'm looking for in employment law. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share that. If you look at the side, I've shared that with, Jason, a couple of mics, and I've said, I know you guys are interested in this too. Let's share this, and let's work on this together, and then let's subscribe to it. So I'm going to subscribe to it, so now I don't have to go to the portal and say, well, what's the latest on employment law, right? I don't have to read the paper of the day or the brief of the day. What I'll get in my email is a digest that says that, hey, there's some new stuff on employment law that you should check out that showed up in iManage, or it showed up as a new matter, right? There's a new employment law matter that's available out there. You should kind of know about that, and I'll get notified about it. On the next slide, we'll see that I can then come in and say, well, just show me stuff that's new in the past 24 hours. So the key part here is, it's not just documents that you're interested in this info site. People are of as much interest as that too. Did someone new come into the firm? Did someone achieve a new skill in employment law? Do we want to bring them into our info site to become a contributor? Do we want to work with them? Do we want to, what is it? How do they now bring in a benefit? And they'll show up just like new content, new skills acquired, new things will show up, and you'll be notified of this info site, and then you can bring them in and collaborate with them and share this data with them just like you would anyone that you knew. So a new take on that collaboration approach of bringing data based on search, based on what's available, automatically letting people know about it and showing them what's new in the system that's of interest to them. The other thing we wanted to call out was our matter comparison tool. This was driven from a need to provide the ability to supplement kind of knowledge interrogation, fixed fee arrangements, pricing proposals, things like that. But giving you the ability that there's a lot of data that exists about your matters in multiple systems. Now that we've pulled that into a single system, the ability to stack those against each other and derive correlations from that data or make decisions on it really kind of sets the bar forward, really drives solving business problems right into that portal. Think of this as when you're shopping for cars. It's a very common e-commerce type thing where it's, these are the 4 that I want to look at, and I want to look at them from these ways, and let me compare them. So if you see on the next slide, I've put my matters into that basket. I've compared them. And what may be a little bit difficult to see because the small text, we probably should have highlighted in this. But what I've done is I've pulled in data about the lead attorneys who are on this matter. So I've gone into the firm directory, I've pulled out their skills, I've pulled out their key client, I've pulled out their office. I could just as easily pull out their skill ratings, their biographies, things like that. This speaks to the point of if I am looking at past matters and I'm trying to judge past performance to predict a future performance, what level of people impact was on that past performance? What you don't want to assume is that you had 2 matters that one was extraordinarily costly, one was not, and assuming that maybe this wasn't an outlier. But what is it about the people that were on that matter that really contributed to that? Did it have just the rock star team? When you look at it and go, those guys are the best in the business. That's it's likely that if we want to do this again, we're going to need to get that type of team on it. That type of intelligence to let you know that predictive of future behavior has as much to do with the people that worked on it as the data that exists. So bringing that full picture in really helps in that capability. So in summary, what we really wanted to show with BEinsight and the firm directory working together, giving this aggregated view of your firm's knowledge based on the people and the content from the system. So bring all that together, your iManager, Elite, your WebCam, all those things, all the expertise knowledge. Give your users the ability to validate and confirm that expertise based on contributions. So tell me that you know it, that's great. Show me that you know it. Let me verify that you know it. And then surface those unknown experts based on things that they're contributing that maybe aren't showing up in other expertise-related search.
All right, great. Mike, at this point, we wanted to open the floor up for questions.
Yep.
So did you want to go ahead and facilitate those questions?
Absolutely. Thank you guys. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Jason. So we're going to open up the floor for questions. Please enter your questions in the questions window of the control panel. I did receive at least a few questions, actually. So first question is, can the rating feature be turned off? And this one might be better for Sean.
Actually, I think that's probably in reference to the rating of individuals that it actually can be turned off. So, Sean, did you want to add something to that?
Yeah, I was going to say it's likely from the firm directory side. We would crawl that data. I mean, I think Jason had said that you can turn that on or off, but we could actually, even if you collected it in the firm directory side and you said, I don't actually want to surface those ratings in search, we could configure it that way too. So you could either turn it off altogether, or you could decide that that's not something that I want to leverage in my search. So you can really get the best of both worlds.
Right. Okay. Thank you. As far as compatibility is concerned, next question is it compatible with SharePoint 2010?
So from the firm directory side, the answer is absolutely yes. I'll go ahead and let Sean answer his end.
Yep, we have full support for SharePoint 2010. There are some of the newer, the info sites and the matter comparison that were written specifically for 2013. So we have a lot of things that work and will work just fine with 2010. There are a few things we do 2013, and certainly if that's of interest to you, we could talk in more detail how we could solve that. People who are on SharePoint 2010, we have had a lot of success specifically in the legal community about what we call search first migration, which is delivering a search center that can search all your SharePoint 2010 content, even 27 other things, even your SharePoint Online content, all in one platform, but using SharePoint 2013 search engine to do that. So we've seen some really good success on that, but yeah, there's a lot that's supported on 2010.
Great. Next question. So with regards to implementation, how fast can something like this be implemented?
Sean, do you want to go?
Do you want to?
I can do that.
I'll start.
So, our implementation cycle is essentially we aggregate or we identify all of the data systems that are source data systems for the profiles. And then additionally, on the BA Insight side, they have, as Sean mentioned, those 50 or so connectors and identifying the source system. So depending upon the number of systems that we're integrating with, the timeline varies. But we've seen timelines anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks, and then they're usually rolled out in these kind of staged intervals. So the project itself, it can go maybe around a 2 month, 2 to 3 month time frame. But again, that's more of a slow rollout process.
Yeah, that's great. And the only thing I want to add to that is, there's a lot of different ways that you can do this, and a lot of times when you look at the number of systems that you have, and you don't want to get bogged down in the, there's 9 systems there, it's going to take me forever. We can work on a very specific, project plan or rollout plan that allows you to quickly deliver value. And that's what we want to do. We want to deliver value as quickly as we can, and then layer in other things behind that. So if you wanted to do a full big bang, had a number of systems, certainly it could take longer. But if you said, hey, I want to deliver some value, how fast can I deliver value? And that's usually measured in numbers of weeks, a couple of 3 weeks. We can deliver value, and then we can bring other things in after that.
Thank you. Next question is a bit of a 2 or 3 part question actually. So is this a cloud or on-premise solution, and how's the data secured? So that's kind of the 2-part question there.
So the firm directory, we've seen more interest in our on-premise solution. Having said that, there's absolutely an opportunity to have that hosted in the cloud, but so far we've seen more adoption with the on-premise version. But again, we provide, you can have it live in either environment.
Yep, and on the BA Insight side, we fully support SharePoint behind the firewall, and with the new I don't want to get too technical, but the cloud SSA available with SharePoint and SharePoint Online, we view hybrid SharePoint, recognizing that there's going to be some people that have SharePoint Online and behind the firewall, and we've worked in partnership with Microsoft to kind of complete that hybrid picture. So we can fully support indexing data that exists either on-premise or in the cloud into your SharePoint Online index and augment that there. So there's lots of options in that, both either behind the firewall or on-premise or in the cloud.
Thank you both. Next question with regards to reporting. So how can I run custom reporting to pull information out of the solution?
So on the firm directory side, we do have out-of-the-box reports that allow you to see things like usage. You can see things like how skills are being declared. So there's some out-of-the-box reports, but the technology stack is all SQL based. So creating custom reports, whether it's based on SQL reporting services or some other technology that you're comfortable with, that's absolutely feasible and something that we do quite often.
Yeah, same answer from the BA Insight side. It's SQL backed. SharePoint reporting services as a tool, but then also there's out of the box both search quality and search centric reports, but then reports can be written into your index to really kind of further mine your data. So pretty much the same answer.
Great, thank you both. Next question. So this one's with regards to self-declaration. Our firm's had bad experiences with lawyers self-declaring skills or expertise. How does the integration handle this?
Yeah, so we've actually had that similar feedback, and so what we've done is we give you a nice mix of either A, you can turn off the self-declaration, or B, you can have someone go in and appoint experience to other individuals, or C, you can use our algorithm that basically kind of scours the profile itself and assign skills to those individuals. So you do have a nice mix. You can turn off the self-declaration in its entirety. So if your firm is in that situation where you've had a bad experience, then I would say lean more on the either auto-generated skills or the administrator appointed skills. Now on the integration side, because BA Insight does such a great job of looking at the content that they create, this is more of an approach of inferring experience as opposed to declaring experience. So that was one of the primary reasons that we looked at this integration and said that it's just such a value add, because we can help you identify experience and expertise without having to do the self-declaration capability.
Yeah, and what I would add to that is certainly bringing the two together and having the data does get to that verifiable state. But there are certainly ways that, if self-identified skills was a concern, but it wasn't something that you necessarily wanted to take away from people, we could actually tune the relevancy engine so that, self-identified skills that aren't verified with contributions in the same skill area would be lower down in the search results. So, potentially those wouldn't show up in search results unless you've both identified it and you've got content in the system that is somewhat validating that you have that. The combination of the two increases your relevancy score, pushes it further up the result set.
Great, thank you. So how do people usually manage the taxonomy? Is there a mechanism to do this within your admin area?
There is, yeah, and as I mentioned earlier, we do provide you with a very rich legal-specific skill taxonomy. Having said that, during the implementation process, we allow you to see that taxonomy, either prune it or add to it, and it's a constantly evolving taxonomy. So while we'd like to think that we can create an all-inclusive taxonomy initially, in reality, what we've seen is that the taxonomy grows over time. So the admin user experience allows you to add skills and prune skills as you need to do that.
Yeah, and that taxonomy then on the SharePoint or BA Insight side has an additional level of when we do our automatic classification, so the taxonomy management, but then rules get applied to those taxonomy nodes that lets the system know when I interrogate a document, what things am I looking for to tag this skill. So there's an additional layer of a rules engine built on that taxonomy that then gets managed in that interface that allows that automatic classification to happen off of those skills.
Great, thank you. And our last question, can I have a custom profile information that's private for example, partner lateral information or recurring information that is department specific? So this one's with regards to kind of custom profile info.
Yeah, absolutely. So having custom sections that are only consumable or viewable by a certain number of individuals is absolutely a capability of the firm directory. We've seen this used in situations where you would like to collect maybe billing information, even diversity information, so only allowing HR to be able to interact with diversity information. So technology absolutely does that. And then on the BA Insight, they have a great security trimming capability that allows you to prevent that content from coming back in search results as well.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Not just preventing it from coming back, but also from interrogating the user's profile and potentially, they can see the data, but not all of the data. So this profile gets, 9 profile fields plus the custom. The standard profile only gets the top 3. They get email address, department, phone number. So the ability to take those items and actually give you a different result display, potentially, security for sure. If you can't see it at all, the whole record, you won't see it. But if there's attributes of that record that need to be pulled out in there, we can support that too.
Great, thank you. Everyone, thank you very much for the fantastic questions. We appreciate that. So I just wanted to take a quick moment to thank everyone who attended today's call. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Sean, for the great presentation. A recording of the webinar is going to be emailed to everybody shortly. For the folks on today's call, if you'd like to see a customized demonstration of the Firm Directory BA Insight integration, we'd be happy to offer that for you and your team. I'll include information on how to set that up in my email. Or if you're attending this year's ILTACon, you can meet up with Sean and Jason in person, booth 529 there. Information on that will be included in the email as well. In the meantime, I want to thank you all for joining us again and wish you all a good day and a good weekend. Thank you.